Why is he like a grandfather?
That one stood out to me too.
What do you mean by that? Maybe it was a really bad idea to put Chad up.
Hey, our guest today is an actor on stage, screen, in games. You may know him from things like Doctor Who, Leonardo, the brand new Hades 2, but I would actually put money down on, if you're watching this stream, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know him as Alphinaud from Final Fantasy XIV. Today we are joined by Colin Orion. Colin, thanks for coming by the stream. Thanks for coming on the show. Thank you for having me. Wow, that's pretty much encapsulated all of it there. That's great. Thank you. You're went diving deep into whatever the internet tells me, which is always accurate. There's never anything wrong with entirely, with actors' credits on the internet. But yeah, it looks like you're at least on Wikipedia and IMDb. Just noticing your credits go back to 2010. So it seems like you've been doing this at least 14 years, if not longer. I actually am a grandfather. Yeah.
Had to be here for the live show to get that one.
Wait, I thought you were Alphinaud, not Louis Soir.
Yeah, I mean, don't let these youthful looks deceive you. I'm 37 years old.
Well, hot dang! I didn't know we were the same age. So that
oh, cool.
That works out. We will make all the same untimely references for the younger viewers.
Perfect.
Yes.
Make jokes about like HBO's The Wire.
Graduated in 2009. We can talk about that gem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful time in history.
It's an interesting time to graduate. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, during a recession. I mean, yeah, that was crazy actually, wasn't it? And the noughties in general were, looking back, a really strange time.
I liked the movies. I liked the music. I didn't like struggling. That wasn't fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, something about my 37th birthday. I've talked to Kyle about this. It's the first time I kind of got in my head about my age, and then I kind of like snapped out of it because I'm like, man, my 30s are so much better than my 20s. Like I'm enjoying it much more.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree with that.
So you graduated. Was it theater centric? Were you growing up doing theater and performance, or was that more of a natural flow of time?
So I did what is a pretty standard route for an actor in the UK, which is going to drama school. So I went to a drama school called Arts Ed, which is in West London, and that's kind of it's a very, well, at the time it's probably changed a lot now, but it was a very you learned everything. So we learned stagecraft, a lot of theatre, Shakespeare, but we also did screen stuff as well. And so for our in our third year, we created these short films. And also we did do a lot of voiceover technique as well, and radio technique, things like that. So it was pretty, it was a well-rounded course.
That's interesting. So I went to American theater college, where it was very much like, listen, someone's got to run the lights. You need to get out of acting. And we're going to teach you how to run the box. And whatever voice acting is, that's not real theater. So it's fascinating to hear that yours was kind of like, the whole gamut, everything's great, including voice acting.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, it's British actors, we are jacks of all trades. So we don't really kind of specify in one particular field. A lot of us do theatre to start with. That's kind of like the training ground after drama school. And then we also do TV stuff, films, voiceovers, games, audiobooks. We do the whole lot. And especially if you're kind of like, it's very different if you graduate from drama school and like hit the big time and you're in, and you get thrown into stardom. That's a very different experience, which only happens to like the tiniest percentage of actors. But for everyone else, like for me, I graduated, and it was very much the kind of life of a jobbing actor. Just seeing what work you can get, and I got off to a really good start. I was very lucky. I think with acting, luck plays such a big part, which is kind of a frustrating thing. But if it works in your favor, then it's amazing. Yeah.
I feel that way about a great many forms of entertainment, including streaming and making online content. Just
right, okay.
Luck and timing can play a big role. So, what was your first professional job out of university?
So my very first job was a kids' TV show, which was amazing, actually. Sweet. I was thinking about it today. Yeah, it was called Hounded, and it was like a sci-fi time travel comedy thing with a British actor comedian called Rufus Hound, hence the title Hounded, and it had kind of Doctor Who vibes. So in each episode, Rufus would go to a different planet in the multiverse and then have to kind of defeat whatever baddie was on that planet. And on each planet, he would bump into me and another character. And obviously, we were the same actors in each episode, but we would play different characters. And that was so much fun because we got to create totally different, wild, wacky characters for each episode. I think we were like 13 episodes. I have no idea if it's still available to watch. Probably not. But that was 2010, I think. So that was my very first job. And that was for the BBC as well. So that was a really big deal. And we did all sorts of... most of it was on green screen, actually. So it was really cool to have that experience.
That's rad. Because, because that means both of you... I'm like, that name sounds familiar, but I'm not as familiar with Rufus Hound. But you were both on Capaldi episodes of Doctor Who then, because you were on an episode during Capaldi's run as the Doctor, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Was it season 10, maybe?
I think it was series 10. I was looking over your IMDb before this, and I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. That's one of my favorite monsters from the Capaldi era is that
seriously?
Episode. And then I know Rufus Hound was on an episode as well, I think with Maisie Williams. I remember that one.
Oh, yes. Was it like a kind of Robin Hood setting?
Yeah. I think that was the season before the season you were on, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were my wife and I got really deep down the Doctor Who rabbit hole for a few years there. So that's
wow. Awesome. Yeah.
That's how you got your start.
I think I found...
Absolutely.
I think I found this on YouTube a little bit. This? Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
I think I've dug it up.
Ow.
Oh, yeah. Well,
so some episodes of Hounded are up there.
Yeah, looks like I got some here. Let's see. We...
some
sort of
Colin
like
McFarlane
intestine gag with like a yeller in like giant French fries or something. And I'm trying to...
Oh, gosh, look at him. Oh, no. Who is that boy?
This looks wonderful.
Why are you doing this to me?
This looks wonderful. This looks like so much fun.
I feel like it's only fair.
It was a lot of fun.
Our streams from 2010, Kyle. I feel like it's fair.
We'll make good on the back end of this stream. Don't you worry. Yeah. No, this looks like the PBS shows I'm showing my son right now. Like this is what there's. Gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, this is a very kind of popular like Spy Kids sort of vibe, and it just looks like a blast.
Yeah, it was very silly. It was extremely. I'm just that's Jim Howick is brilliant. We had such an amazing cast. Colin McFarlane, Nadine Marshall, Rufus. Yeah, it was, and for like my first job at a drama school as well. it was great to do something that was that kind of freeing creatively, because we could just invent the wildest characters. And usually in acting, you don't really get that kind of freedom. And that's why I think children's television is such it's amazing work to do for actors, because that's the kind of stuff that you do in drama school, that you get told, like, you'll only do this in drama school. Like, out in the real world, you pretty much just play versions of yourself. So whenever you do get a chance to play a really interesting character, yeah, we love that.
Well, the variety you're describing too, because I mean, we Kyle and I mostly know you for your role as Alphinaud, and that's you've been playing the same character since Heaven's Ward, so a better part of a decade for you now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's probably the most consistent, as Alphinaud is the kind of longest I've ever been with a character. It is kind of an unusual thing, really, because like, actors don't get that opportunity to stay with a character for that long. I mean, in the UK, we have lots of long-running soaps, and I think that's really only the kind of so there's like I'm obsessed with EastEnders. That's my go-to soap, which is set in the East End of London. And there are some characters who've been on that show playing the same character for like 35 years.
Oh my goodness!
Whoa!
I was gonna say, in the States, I guess the closest thing we have is well, in movies you'd be something like Marvel, because some of those actors have been playing the same characters for quite some time.
Oh,
but
yeah, that's true.
Something like Grey's Anatomy, I guess, would have one of the longest running. But even that show swaps out a lot of its cast over the years. So
right. Yeah, well, I hope they don't do that with me. I'm 14.
We agree, and I think chat would be with us too. I don't think anyone's anyway. You would be horribly missed.
Did you find your teaching and the schooling you got on voice acting was very, you need a wide variety of voices, or was it kind of what you just said of like, be you, refine what you possess?
Yeah, exactly that. It was more about being able to do you very well. And that's why I'm from Birmingham, in the Midlands, which has a particular accent. And the only difference really between like my speaking voice and Alphinaud's speaking voice is that Alphinaud is I play him with what we call RP, received pronunciation, which is basically posh English. And so that is a version of my voice, rather than kind of putting on something vastly different. And generally, that seems to be what actors mostly do is play different versions of themselves. And even more so with accents these days, because although we did learn a lot of accents at drama school, it was mostly about kind of perfecting your own accent and kind of clearing things up. Because now, if they wanted someone to do a Scottish accent, they'd hire a Scottish person. And I think it is much more democratic now, because there was a time when there were much fewer actors who all came from a particular background, who all spoke in exactly the same received pronunciation accent. So it was required back then to be able to transform and do different accents, because actors from certain backgrounds where they would have had a kind of strong regional accent, they historically weren't allowed into the acting industry. It was very much kind of a certain demographic, let's say, who were kind of dominating the acting world at that time. Luckily, that has changed a lot. So yeah, people with Birmingham accents, Welsh accents, all sorts of different accents. Those actors are there and available to take on those roles.
That's really cool, and how encouraging that you get to be yourself, and that's who you're refining, and not always trying to. I mean, of course, in acting, I guess you are pretending to be other people. You don't have the same life experiences, but getting to actually hone yourself and seeing that the fruits of that labor develop, that sounds damn rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is the I think that is what makes the characters unique, is each actor's own inherent uniqueness and individuality. And whenever you go to auditions, something that casting directors say a lot is how they want to see what you bring to the character, that essence of yourself that you can give to the character. So yeah, that's what I try and do, and I think that's that's when you get the most kind of authentic performances as well. When it comes from when it comes from the actor, when they use their own experience to kind of give to that character and to that story.
Do you feel like you're an amazing reader? Like, do you think to yourself, man, the class would pass around and the teacher would be like, okay, your turn to read, Colin. You'd be like, I got this. I can read aloud like nobody's business.
Do you know what? It takes practice. That's why drama school is 3 years long. And there's a reason for that. Like, I was not ready in the first year or the second year. And sight reading is one of those things that you do have to practice and get good at. And we had sight reading classes, which really helped, especially for video games, because everything is so kind of secret, and so when kind of recording any video game, they don't like to give you too much information. And quite often we get the script sometimes the day before. So you don't really get much time with the script. And I'm a slow reader anyway. So pretty much a lot of the recording is cold reading, kind of there in the moment. So yeah, that all that drama school practice of sight reading, yeah, really kind of kicks in those situations.
That sounds intense.
That's interesting.